This equipment operates using 240 volts of electricity. Do not immerse any part of the electrical system in water. Ensure the electrical supply plug is correctly connected to the supply. Sulfur dioxide will be released when draining the system, as PMS and citric acid is used to store the membranes and prevent against microbial growth. Use only trisodium phosphate and hydrogen peroxide for cleaning and citric acid and PMS for storage. Adhere to instructions that follow in this SOP. Do not use chlorine, caustic, or caustic-based cleaning agents. Bentonite, PVPP, carbon and other fining agents will permanently damage the filtration membranes. Prior to filtration, we recommend racking from any fining agent. We also suggest racking into the filter, never from the bottom valve. Ensure pumps do not run without liquid or run against closed valves. Prime suction hose before starting feed pump. We are not responsible for wine loss or poor performance due to negligence or failure to follow the correct procedure. Check pre-filter regularly for debris buildup and clean if necessary. Note the MemLux4 cross-flow filters are not lease filters. Replacement membranes are expensive. Wine temperature will affect flow rate. Cold wines filter at a slower rate. Residual sugar will reduce speed of filtration, slower flow rate. Wine turbidity will affect both flow rate and duration between cleaning. Higher turbidity wines will filter slower and reduce duration between cleaning. The following additional equipment is also supplied with the filter: one water hose with 1-inch BSP female tap connector. On request, one nitrogen regulator with flow meter and hose fitted with female connections suiting the N2 inlets on the filter. Membrane cleaning chemicals, trisodium phosphate and 50% hydrogen peroxide. Not supplied is nitrogen and citric acid or PMS for the final step of cleaning and storage. The MemLux4 is supplied to you clean. The filter membranes are stored on a potassium meta-bisulfite and citric acid solution. This must be drained and water rinsed prior to use. Always use clean potable water to flush and clean the filter. We recommend a supply of potable water with a flow rate of approximately 3,000 liters per hour, pre-filtered to less than 5 micrometers, preferably via a carbon filter to remove free chlorine. Standard potable mains water is usually fine. Start by opening all valves V1, V2, V3, V4, V5 and bleed valves on top of the pre-filter and 4 membrane housings. Liquid will drain from valves V1, V4 and V5. Once water flow stops or is almost stopped, close V2. Connect water hose and cam lock fitting to V4, which is labeled wine drain, and turn on water. Water will start to flow from V1, V5 and V3. Taste liquid for the absence of potassium metabisulfite and citric acid. Add V3. Once water is clean of potassium metabisulfite, partially close V3. Water flow will increase from V5 and V1. Regulate the flow leaving V5 using the V3 valve. The target flow from V5 is 1,500 to 1,800 liters per hour. You can check this on the operating screen. Taste for the absence of potassium metabisulfite and citric acid at V5. Once only water is detected, turn off water, disconnect hose and open all valves to drain. Also, open V2. Once the system is flushed and drained, we recommend purging with nitrogen to reduce any retained water and air from the system. Please note, the maximum nitrogen pressure is 150 kilopascal. A gas pressure higher than 200 kilopascal can damage the membranes. First, set the nitrogen supply pressure to 150 kilopascal. Then close V3, V4 and the bleed valves on top of pre-filter housing and 4 membrane housings, leaving V1, V2 and V5 open. Next, connect a regulated nitrogen supply to N2 number 1 and open N2 supply. After 30 seconds, open V4 briefly. Once water stops flowing, shut V4. Water will be seen exiting V5 and V1. Once water has stopped dripping from V5 and V1, crack open V4 again to remove additional water. Turn off the nitrogen supply. Close N2 number 1 valve and remove the nitrogen supply. Slowly open V3 to relieve all pressure. Once the pressure is normal, the system is now drained, purged, and ready to filter wine. Ensure the wine hose from the feed tank to the filter is as short as possible. Always rack the wine to the filter, never from the bottom valve. This is to prevent pickup of solids and possible permanent fouling of the membranes. To minimize oxygen pickup during the filtration run, we recommend sparging the wine with nitrogen at 2 liters per minute. Make sure V4 drain valve is closed and the 4 gas release valves on top of the 4 membrane housings are also closed. Make sure both wine tanks are vented. Connect the wine in hose to the wine inlet. Inlet V1 on the filter and the other end to the racking valve of the tank containing the wine that is to be filtered. Connect the wine out hose to the filtrate outlet V5 and the other end to a cutout fitting at the bottom valve of the filtrate receivable tank. You will need to taste between water and wine. On the filter, open V5 wine filtrate valve, V3 flush valve, V2 crossflow isolator, and V1 wine in valve. Before starting the filtration, set up the control screen. Turn the black filter switch to the off position, and on the screen tap the green batch finished reset button to 0, the batch volume counter. Turn the black filter switch to filter mode. If batching is required, on the screen tap the blue square to the right of batch total set and enter the liters required. Press enter, and the required batch volume is stored. At the start of the run, set the feed pump speed to 40% and circulation pump speed to 100%. With the bleed valve on top of the pre-filter housing open, allow wine to gravity feed to the filter and flood the feed pump. Once wine exits the pre-filter bleed valve, close this valve before starting any pumps. Turn black filter switch to the filter position. Before starting, select Fill on the screen. This will illuminate green. To start the feed pump and fill the filter, press the green Start/Running button. Only the feed pump will run to fill the filtration skid. Observe for wine at V3. Once wine starts to exit, close V3. Taste out water and wine at the wine filtrate receivable tank. This may take 1 to 3 minutes. The crossflow pump will shortly start running. This is automatic. You will notice on the screen the change from fill to run. If you require the filtered wine to be nitrogen sparged, connect the nitrogen feed to the sparge point adjacent to V5. Set nitrogen gas flow to 2 to 5 liters per minute. Open the 4 gas release valves on top to each of the 4 membrane housings and allow gas to escape. Close these valves once wine appears. The system is now up and running. If you have stopped the filtration mid-run, select Run on the screen and press Start/Running to resume machine operation. Monitor loop pressures. If pressure begins to exceed 200 kPa and flow rate drops significantly, it is time to stop and clean the filter. You can expect to achieve a filtration flow rate of 800 to 1400 liters per hour. Performance is based on wine conditions. If you require advice, please contact VAF Memstar on 885-621-139. On the control panel screen, you can monitor batch amount. This is the number of liters that has been filtered. You will notice this increases as the run continues. Batch total set. You can set the volume you want to filter. In filter mode, the filter will automatically stop once the preset volume is reached. Note in CIP mode, the batch total pauses and does not change. However, the filtrate flow continues to display. Loop pressure. This is the operating pressure on the inlet side of the membranes. This pressure starts at 50 to 80 kPa and will gradually increase over the course of the filtration. Once 200 kPa is reached, this indicates the membranes have become fouled and the filter requires cleaning. Filtrate flow. This indicates the flow rate of the filtered wine exiting the filter. The rate is determined by the feed pump speed. Normal operation sees the filtrate flow maintained while the loop pressure increases. We recommend aiming for a flow rate of 800 to 1000 liters per hour. Always start slowly and slowly build up the flow rate. Feed pump speed. This has the range of 30 to 80%. It is recommended starting at 40% speed. If pressure doesn't increase by 20 kPa, then gradually increase the speed in 5% increments up to 60% and continue to monitor. This range matches the capacity and characteristics of the filter membranes. Circulation, pump speed. This should be set at 100%. Product temperature. This displays the temperature of the wine in the filter. Setup screen tab. Memstar access only. If the loop pressure exceeds 200 kPa and flow rate has slowed significantly, it is time to stop the filtration and clean the filter. Or, if the tank is emptied, take the following steps. Stop the filtration using the red stop button. Then disconnect the hose at the now completed, empty feed tank. Next, set the feed pump flow rate to 40% and tap Run, and start the filter. With the system running, walk the feed hose to the V1 inlet valve. After all the wine has been drained from the hose into the system, switch off the filter, by pushing the red stop button and close V1. Leave V5 open. Connect nitrogen to N2 number 1. Open the regulated nitrogen supply at 150 kPa. Ensure the V5 wine outlet is open. Nitrogen is now pushing filtered wine out of the filter to the receivable tank. Watch the filtrate flow on the screen and make sure the feed loop does not exceed 200 kPa at this point. You will eventually see fluctuating flow on the filtrate flow display, indicating the system is almost empty. Continue with nitrogen until little to no further flow is seen leaving V5. Stop the nitrogen flow and close N2 number 1 and disconnect nitrogen supply. Connect N2 to the sparge point near V5 and close V5. Walk wine out of the hose to the filtrate tank and cutout. The system is still under nitrogen pressure. Slowly open V3 to release nitrogen pressure from the system. You can recover the dirty wine by opening V4 and collecting the wine in a bucket. Expect 10 to 20 liters to be recovered. Add 100 liters to the batch total after purging the wine out with nitrogen to account for dead volume in the filter. You can now proceed to the cleaning step. Once the filter has been emptied of wine, open all valves and allow any remaining wine to drain from the system. Ideally use warm 40-degree water for flushing and cleaning. Prior to cleaning the membranes, disassemble the pre-filter and clean the internal screen. To do this, unclamp the pre-filter housing and inspect the internal screen. Clean, if necessary, by unscrewing the top nut, removing the internal screen, and running underwater. Reinstall the screen. Check screen washers are in place. Fit the retaining nut. Tighten by hand. Do not over-tighten. Reinstall the O-ring and housing cover. Open all valves, V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, and bleed valves on top of pre-filter housing and 4 membrane housings. Liquid will drain from V1, V4, and V5. Once flow stops or has almost stopped, close V2. Connect the water hose and cam lock fitting to V4 labeled wine drain and turn on water. Water will start to flow from V1, V5, and V3. Observe for the absence of solids and wine residue at V3. Once water gets clearer, stop the water, close V4, remove water line and drain water in the system by opening V4. Next, change the direction of the flow by connecting the water line to V3. Water should now exit V4, V5, and V1. Repeat these steps for reversing the flow so all the organic fouling is removed from the outside of the membranes. Once light in color, connect water hose and cam lock fitting to V4 and turn on water. Water will start to flow from V1, V5, and V3. Partially close V3 until water exiting V5 is light in color too. Taste for the absence of wine residue at V5. Once clean water is detected, turn off water. Close V4, open V2, disconnect water, leave the system full, and proceed to the cleaning step. The filter is now ready for TSP and hydrogen peroxide cleaning. 3/4 fill the CIP tank with warm water. Add 1 kilogram of dissolved TSP and add 250 milliliters of 50% hydrogen peroxide solution, which has been supplied. Care: read chemical handling safety instructions and wear correct PPE. Connect the supplied cleaning hoses to valves and the CIP tank. V1 to CIP tank valve. From V5 with open end into CIP tank. From V3 with open end into CIP tank. Fully open valves, V1, V2, V5, and the CIP tank valve. Part open V3. Switch the filter to CIP mode, set the feed pump speed to 60% and start the filter. The flow meter should read 600 to 900 liters per hour. If not, vary V3 to adjust the flow. Circulate on cleaning solution for more or less 20 minutes at 60% feed pump speed. Open valves on top of the 4 membrane housings while cleaning and observe cleaning liquid, leaving all 4 membrane housings. If this does not occur further, close V3 until liquid is seen escaping the bleed lines of the 4 membrane housings. Bleed and then close the 4 valves. After 20 minutes, stop the filter and rinse the cleaning solution using the drain and flush procedure. If the filter is particularly dirty, steps 1 to 6 as per the provided SOP may need to be repeated for a second or third time. It is permissible to leave the filter running for 3 hours and soaking on the TSP and peroxide solution overnight, or for 24 hours. Once the cleaning solution has reached a very light tea color, the machine is considered clean. You can now proceed to citric rinsing. Complete a water rinse using the drain and flush procedure until the cleaning solution is removed from the machine. This can be determined by assessing the water leaving V3 and V5. Taste for clean water. Leave the system full of water. Prepare citric acid solution in water. Add 1 kilogram of dissolved citric acid into the CIP tank and 3/4 fill with water. connect the supplied cleaning hoses to valves and the CIP tank. V1 to CIP tank valve. From V3 with open end into CIP tank. From V5 with open end into CIP tank. Open fully valves V1, V2, V5 and CIP tank valve. Part open V3. Switch the filter to CIP mode, set the feed pump speed to 60% and start the filter. The flow meter should read 800 to 1000 liters per hour. If not, vary V3 to adjust the flow. Circulate on citric acid solution for more or less 20 minutes. Open valves on top of the 4 membrane housings while cleaning and observe liquid leaving all 4 membrane housings. If this does not occur, further close V3 until liquid is seen escaping the bleed lines of the 4 membrane housings. Bleed and close the valves. After 20 minutes, assess the citric acid solution. It should be clear and free of wine. Stop pumps and close all valves. If the filter is to be immediately used, please follow the flush and drain procedure before filtering wine. If the filter is to be stored for more than 24 hours, dissolve 100 grams of PMS in water and add the PMS solution to the citric water in the citric rinse filter. Procedure. Continue to circulate for a further 10 minutes and then stop the filter and shut all valves. If cleaned and stored correctly, the citric acid and PMS solution will keep the filter sound for 1 week without further attention.